Peace. Jamal Robinson here with 720astrology.com. And I want to talk about the upcoming Mercury Retrograde in Capricorn. Put these windows up so it won't be so loud. The trine between Mercury and Jupiter, which will happen a few days before Mercury stations retrograde. We're going to talk about the second time that Mercury and Jupiter will trine each other, which will be in January. And finally, we're going to touch on the Sun conjunct Pluto in Capricorn and then in Aquarius, which is monumental. I don't know the last time this happened. It wasn't when Pluto was in Aquarius in 17. I think it made its first ingress in 1779, maybe. But we still didn't have it where the Sun made it a conjunction with Pluto in Capricorn and then was conjuncted again the next day in Aquarius. Now I may be wrong, but I don't think it happened during that last cycle. So let's get into this. First thing is that I've got some little visual aid here. We've got, you can see I have Mercury up here at the top in Capricorn, 6 degrees. Jupiter down here, 6 degrees of Taurus. And we see they're in both in Earth houses, and in the natural zodiac, this puts them in the money houses. House number 2 is occupied by Taurus. It's our resources. And that can be money, natural resources, food, goods, services. Then we've got the 10th house, which is naturally occupied by Capricorn or associated with Capricorn. This deals with what do we bring to the world stage, career, status, what we build. Our worldly destiny is naturally associated with Capricorn. All right. So those two will form a trine on December 8th. Okay. And a trine, of course, is a harmonious aspect. This is how I teach or explain the trine to my clients. So a trine is considered to be the most benefic aspect in astrology. It is the higher octave of the sextile. So first, a sextile, I tell people, is like you have this amazing job opportunity, but you're going to have to get dressed up nicely and put your smell goods on and make sure your resume's intact, cover letter. You got to show up and you got to put on this, you got to give this phenomenal interview, or, you got to perform well during this interview to get the job. So sextile is an opportunity, but there are things you have to do to reap the benefits. Now, a trine is more like a gift, almost like a trust fund baby. Mama and daddy left me $36 million in the trust, and all I got to do is not mess it up. That's more of what a trine is. It's something that's naturally lines up. But that still doesn't mean that there aren't things you have to do to maximize that trine, because the trine can promote laziness. It can promote shiftlessness, or just I'll just wait and let things just work out. That's the danger of a trine. Many times a trine in a person's chart, in people's charts, period, can lie dormant. The benefits of it, and it takes a square or some other hard aspect, sometimes and involving one of the points in the trine to activate the trine aspect, okay? So this leads me to the recent occurrence of the passing of Charlie Munger. Now, Charlie Munger is or was a partner with Warren Buffett and Berkshire Hathaway. I don't know what else they partnered in, but that's the only thing I know. It's the most known thing of their business dealings, Berkshire Hathaway. Okay, and it's a conglomerate that does all types of stuff, financial stuff. I think they do real estate. I don't know what. It's a bunch of stuff. Very successful company. Two very successful billionaires who are known for being ultra frugal. And so Munger passed away on November 28th, and they played a clip of an interview he had on CBS. And this part of the interview grabbed me. It said, quote, "A few rare opportunities will come. You got to learn how to recognize them when they come and not make too minor a trip to the pie counter when the opportunity is available." One more time. A few rare opportunities will come. You got to learn how to recognize them when they come and not make too minor a trip to the pie counter when the opportunity is available. A trine is an opportunity, a great opportunity. A sextile is an opportunity, but a trine is even greater opportunity. It's a gift of sorts, okay? But before he made this statement, he talked about how he didn't want to spoil his children when they were coming up. And I think by now his children are like in late 60s, early 70s, somewhere in there. Okay, and although he was very successful, he didn't want to give them a whole lot because his theme was soldier on, soldier on. Now, I'm listening to him talk and I'm thinking, boy, he sounds like a Capricorn. And I go and look up his birthday, and I think it was like January 4th or somewhere in there, 1924. Or was it? Yeah, 1924, I think. So he's a Capricorn, and I think he was born while Pluto was in Cancer, I think. Was Pluto in Cancer at the end, or was it Leo? I can't remember. But either way, the main thing is he spoke the whole Capricorn goat climbing the impossible, surmounting the impossible mountain, climbing up the side of a mountain where it's almost impossible to gain footage. This is the soldier on ethos that he echoed in that video. And he says when opportunity comes, basically, you need to be able to recognize it and don't make too minor a trip to the pie counter. So what does that mean? That means when the gift is given, the opportunity is elevated to a gift, you need to be ready for it. I mean, that hit me right here, because the last time I had the pie counter really was serving some delicious pies, apple, cherry, and lemon pie, and whatever you can think of, I was not ready. I wasn't ready, and I had to learn some very difficult but valuable lessons by not being ready when it was my turn to go up to the pie counter and I was being served. The reason this really hits home right now is, one, because this was a Capricorn sun who was speaking, and that this pie counter metaphor ties into the trine between Mercury and Jupiter. First of all, we want to look at what houses report to Mercury and Jupiter in your chart. As in, what houses are ruled by Mercury and Jupiter. That can kind of show where there's more specifically some opportunities. Then look at the archetypes of Mercury and Jupiter. You know, Mercury is communication and learning and writing and business transactions, and it's games, court games, and it's your automobile. So somewhere sift through and figure out where it applies to you as far as those keywords. Jupiter basically expands things, expansion, abundance. Jupiter is also the law, what's fair. Jupiter is philosophy. Jupiter is vision. So somewhere somewhere you find where you fit in this keyword soup, relative to the houses that are ruled and what's going on with you. But these are the basics. There's an opportunity on the horizon, but you must be prepared for it. And you've been preparing, especially while Pluto has been moving through Capricorn. So that's been, when it's all said and done, we're talking about like 16 years of preparation. 16 years. The Pluto transit in Capricorn. This trine between Mercury and Jupiter lines up with Pluto's ingress into Aquarius, because Mercury's trining Jupiter right now on the 8th. 4 days later, Mercury will station retrograde at 8 degrees of Capricorn. Okay? And it will retrograde back to 22 degrees of Sagittarius. It stations direct at 22 of Sagittarius, which is ruled by Jupiter, on January 2nd of 2024. Now, stop this video, go back, whatever you got to do so you can write this stuff down. Because if we go back to December, on December 12th, just 4 days after Mercury and Jupiter have formed a trine, and on the same day that Mercury stations retrograde at 8 degrees of Capricorn, we have a new moon, which means the sun and moon are together in the sky. New moon at 20 degrees of Sagittarius, which is ruled by Jupiter. The new moon is when we are setting intentions, okay? But agriculturally, the Sagittarius new moon is not where we plant, it's where we pull out weeds. Follow this. Okay. Now, on December 30th, Jupiter, which rules the new moon, will station direct at 5 degrees of Taurus, December 30th. January 19th, Mercury is now direct. Jupiter has been direct. They will come together again and form a trine at 6 degrees of Taurus on January 19th. The next day, January 20th, the sun will be conjunct Pluto at 29 degrees of Capricorn, which is the anaretic degree. It is change is on the horizon. The next day, January 21st, the sun will be conjunct Pluto still, but now they're at 0 degrees of Aquarius. Now, let me see if I can make sense of all this. We have all this stuff going on between, there's a lot of activity between Sagittarius, Capricorn, and Aquarius. We also have Taurus in the mix. Let's try to make sense of it. Mercury and Jupiter form a trine on the 8th of December. That is a gift, but that gift is not realized yet. 4 days later, we have a new moon and Mercury stations retrograde. So the re is again. Whenever we see a RE, it means again. So Mercury is going back over the ground that has been covered since back in November. But it is taking back, though, the seed that is planted. It's going back and contemplating things in support of the seed, the intention that is planted on the same day, because we have a new moon on the 12th, the same day that Mercury's retrograde, station's retrograde. So during this retrograde phase, I see it as an opportunity to go back and contemplate things as it goes back to 22 of Sagittarius, things that can support the seed that is planted on the 20th. And the Sagittarian seed is not about planting seeds of literally planting seeds. If you think agriculturally, it's about aerating. So let me correct it just for the sake of the analogy. This new moon on December 12th is not actually about planting seeds. It's about aerating the ground so that seeds that have already been planted on the Scorpio new moon, can now have more ability to survive throughout the winter and grow. So Sagittarius, we're aerating, clearing away things, getting things in order, which lines up with the whole concept of retrograde. Retrograde is a perfect time to get things in order, clear away things, set things in place. And then, while Mercury's retrograde, Jupiter stations direct. Then a few days later, Mercury stations direct. So this can have financial implications. If you've been working on something business-wise, and you've been toiling at it, then maybe this is where there's a ray of sunlight. Okay? The 19th, this is where that ray of sunlight is really realized or seen. And this is where maybe we have a pie counter experience, as Charlie Munger was talking about. And the thing about it is, he's speaking from a Capricornian standpoint. Don't look for something magnanimous and amazing. And I think that's kind of what Hollywood has done to us. We look for the sky to open up and the heavens to sing, oh, oh, and just manna to rain down from heaven, you know. But I think it's the ability to see the subtle opportunities, the subtle gifts. That is what we need the retrograde possibly to help refine our thinking mechanism, to make sure we can see the opportunity, the gifts when they appear, and then we're more ready to act on them, especially given the fact that Mercury is moving through territory that Pluto has been chopping up, not just recently, but for 16 years. Pluto has been tilling this soil, tearing things up, removing things, causing decay. But now we can start to see that that decay has been serving the purpose of fertilizing the ground. And if we're ready, then this can be the moment that we can look back on and say, this is wow, this was that. But it's still subtle. It's subtle, which means it's about what we do with this energy, what we do with the gifts. How do we maximize them? Because the sun will conjunct Pluto at 29 degrees, the end. So we're talking about from a Judeo-Christian, or let's just say if we want to go to the Christian motif, death, burial, and resurrection, which is the replay of the Osirian drama. Death, burial, and resurrection. Something has to go. And something must come online. So I had 3 things here that I thought that kind of speak to this last point about the sun conjunct Pluto, and then conjunct Pluto and Capricorn, and then the next day both of them dancing into Aquarius. 1, the past and the future are juxtaposed. 2, more revelations and truths come out about the old guard. A Promethean spirit is vitalized. 3, a last-ditch effort from the powers that be to fulfill an obsessive need for power and control. Maybe an event happens that has a Hegelian origin/intention to elicit a response that serves the purpose of uniformity, control, and mechanistic automatism. Now, what the hell am I talking about? Well, some things have to be stated and presented a certain way, because you can't say certain things just flat out, okay? But if I can simplify it a little more, Pluto in mythology is obsessive. In the incident between him and Persephone, the daughter of Demeter, where he kidnaps her and takes her into the underworld. So Pluto and Capricorn can be an obsession with power, an obsession with control. And when it's at the 29th degree, the anaretic degree, critical, where things are at a precipice. We're at the precipice of a new sign, of a new era, of a new 248-year cycle. Okay? Because for the United States, this is the same energy that was prevalent during the revolutionary times. This is the birth of a nation type energy. Okay? So whenever things are being born, something's ending. So we don't know what might come on the scene, and it could be Hegelian. If you don't know what that is, look up the Hegelian dialectic. Problem, reaction, solution. And so the downside is what I'm presenting of Capricorn and Aquarius. The downsides are control, Capricorn, top-down control, iron fist. And the negative of Aquarius can be this mechanistic, non-humanistic, automatomistic way of existing. I won't say living, just existing, of moving, where humanity loses its humanity and humanity becomes robotic. So just as we have all this hope for the future, we also have to have sober eyes, or clear eyes, and sober conscience that looks at the potential slippery slope that we're on. You go in the stores and you walk up to the register and people just stare at you like they're not human. People walk in a straight line. There's no accommodation for another human is coming. Hey, I'll be courteous and go ahead. No, it's I'm in a straight line. It's point A to point B. That's not human. That's mechanistic. Humans driving through the parking lot and not realizing other people are out here walking with their children. If I'm doing 30, 35 miles an hour through a parking lot, I can do a lot of damage straight ahead. It's a machine, a non-thinking, non-sentient machine driving a non-thinking, non-sentient machine. So we have to be sober about the future. So I know I'm covering this is different things here, but it's all relevant, because we have to be mindful of what presents itself first. There's a gift. There's a gift with Mercury and Jupiter. There's some type of gift. There's a window, but we know how windows of opportunity are. They seldom stay open any length of time. It's just catch it while you can catch it. Be ready. Then we also have the reality that we are moving into a new world. And so those who have allowed Pluto to till their soil and have realized the necessity to give in to the tilling over the past 16 years could possibly reap mightily moving forward. Those who have been constantly resistant to the tilling may not have allowed the soil to be prepared as well as it could. And therefore, there might be karmic residuals into the future, because after all, these two signs are still classically answering and ruled by Saturn, which is the Lord of time, the Lord of karma. So all karma is, for every action there's an equal and opposite reaction. There's always some type of karma, Some people can hide it more. Sometimes it's buried into the gene pool, but it always shows up. It's just that we're not always mindful or willing to acknowledge how it shows up. But it's there. It's a law. It's not a theory. It's a law. So, what work are we doing? What gifts are showing up? What are we to reap in the very near future? Things to ponder on. Thanks for sitting in for this little brief discussion. The on the road car version, the picking up the children outside the school version. As always, I'm available for private readings. I am now available for 2024 forecast readings and a host of other readings through my website, 720astrology.com. Know the stars, know yourself. Peace.